the college golf work experience is more about being comfortable and more about embracing it and having fun with your teammates.
Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Chris Finn, and I have really excited to have a guest here with us that I've known for quite a while. He's made a big name for himself this year on tour, and he really has a special place in our heart, P4S Golf, and that we've been able to kind of watch and follow him throughout his career. And for any of you junior golfers out there, or parents of juniors who are curious kind of what it takes to get from from junior golf all the way to the highest of high levels, definitely make sure you're paying attention to this episode. So today we're really lucky to have Gerard with us, PGA Tour professional. And I will give you guys a little bit of his bio. He's quite the accomplished player. He came out of University of North Carolina, All-American in 2020, 2022, All-ACC in 2021 as a fifth-year senior. This guy can play his ball. For any of you guys who don't know Ryan, he's actually fourth in UNC history in career stroke average. He actually has the third and seventh best single season scoring average by a Tar Heel, one of only two players to have multiple seasons and top 10 best averages in UNC history, 5 career 65 or better, which is more than any other Carolina Tar Heel. The list goes on and on and on. And to talk about preparation and being able to be ready for the big stage, even in his first professional tournament, he was co-medalist for qualifier at the U.S. Open. So Ryan, welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad, and we're happy to have you, man.
Chris, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been as somebody who's gotten to watch you, throughout the year, it's been awesome to see you this year. Obviously, you've been on tour; it's your second year, second kind of or first kind of full season. And what's that been like? What's that been like for you? Just adjusting and travel. And I know been on the road for quite a bit this year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's kind of been a dream of mine to play golf professionally on the PGA Tour for as long as I can remember. So just kind of getting to fulfill that and live that dream has been awesome. But yeah, it's been a little bit strange kind of getting acclimated to it, feeling like you're just going until you can't go anymore sometimes. So it's a lot of discipline and just kind of trying to be as prepared as possible and doing the right thing when you're out there, but trying to enjoy it too.
Yeah. So let's start with, being on tour. I know you had, you told me when we were talking before we jumped on the, recording here that, like, how many weeks have you been on the road this year? Like how many plane flights, or I don't know if you have miles traveled, like just give people kind of an idea of, like, quantify for them, what does it mean to be on tour in terms of the toll that it takes on the body and the commitment level?
Yeah. So we're sitting here September 20th ish, I think. I don't really know what the date is, but I've played 5 Korn Ferry Tour events, 18 PGA Tour events, and a major this year. In addition to 5 mini tour events, 4 Monday qualifiers, and a U.S. Open 36-hole sectional qualifier. So I think that's a grand total of like 34 events, and we're like 39 weeks into this year. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, there was a stretch there where I was like on the road for 10 or 11 weeks, but I think I did the math, and I've been physically at my house hanging out, practicing for 9 weeks this year. So been on the road or playing a tournament in 29 of the weeks kind of leading up to this week. And then I've taken 42 flights so far this year. And the reason I bring that up is I feel like flying when you're trying to play golf is the biggest thing that makes you more tired or kind of throws off your rhythm. You have to be really, really cognizant of what you're doing when you're flying to a tournament or back from a tournament, just kind of keep the body ready and healthy and at peak performance.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we have a lot of people listening that travel for work or, or even, we're talking, maybe college kids that are trying to go to the next level like you have. Like, what are some, I mean, if you had to give kind of like your top 3 tips on how to be successful with that level of travel and still be able to, play the game at a high level, like for you, what have been the kind of the key findings, I guess, this year?
So I think a few things for me. The first one's really, really, really stupid, but it's simple. If you can get like a small like neck pillow or like roll up a t-shirt or anything like that, and just kind of put it in the lumbar support on your back on those mid to longer airplane flights, it just does wonders for me, kind of keeping everything loose, kind of putting yourself in a better posture when you're sitting there, so you're not slouching or feeling like you're kind of everything's rigid with the back of this airplane seat. Because I feel like that has helped me be less just, I don't know, out of whack when I get to places. And then drinking as much water as possible is another big one. And then for guys that have the chance to kind of pick when they're going to fly, I prefer flying at night just because I feel like I kind of can do whatever I want in the morning. Then I can go to the airport, kind of know that section of my day is done. The last part of my day is just travel, go to the airport, fly later at night if possible, get somewhere, stretch a little bit, drink a lot of water, and then sleep it off. So the next day you kind of feel like you're in some sort of rhythm. Whereas I feel like if you're flying early in the morning and then you're grabbing your clubs and you're going from the airport to the golf course or the car or wherever, and it's just kind of like you almost feel like you're behind on the day, and it's hard to really kind of catch back up. So I feel like those 3 things are pretty small things that you can try and do to help put yourself in a better position when you land somewhere, if you're trying to play some golf or just feel better in general.
For sure. Yeah. And so, as anyone who's ever traveled by airplane, it never, for as many flights, 40 plus flights, I'm sure at least one of them has been delayed or canceled, or like when that happens to you, like what do you do to recover from that? And like kind of how do you adjust? You go into obviously the day having this plan of this is going to be my day. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. When, the airline throws or the weather throws an absolute wrench in it, like how do you kind of tend to recover from that? Because, obviously that's a commonality that lots of people have in terms of challenges of travel.
Yeah, well, luckily I'm young and I take pretty good care of myself for the most part. So it's not the end of the world being 24 stuck on a plane for a little bit, but you just kind of got to roll with it. I think that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of stuff that is not in your control. I only try and worry about the stuff that is in my control, kind of what I can do to put myself in the best position going forward, and all the other external variables, everything else that might happen, we just gotta kind of sweep it under the rug and roll with the punches. So I feel like the biggest thing that I can do is not try and get agitated, not try and get like frustrated. I mean, if you got to go talk to someone about getting another flight, you could be a little bit, hey, help me out here, please. But besides that, you just kind of roll with it. And I guess that's my biggest thing is you never let the stress level get too crazy. If it's something that's going to happen anyway, I mean, there's no point getting all worked up about it because it just kind of bleeds into everything else that you're doing.
100%. Yeah. And and I think that kind of leads into, we talk about the controllables in the game of golf, and particularly on tour, there's lots that is not controllable. When we talk about the body, that's obviously something that is very much within our control and the physicality of it. And so what I'd love to hear is kind of, and everyone listening would love to hear, like, how have you gotten to where you are from the physical side? Your preparation from the time you were a kid to, the high school, and then obviously going to the University of North Carolina. And then now you're kind of, on your own on tour in different city pretty much every week. How have you had to adapt to that? And what have you found that's kind of been, successful for you to play at the level you're playing?
Well, I used to work out with Chris in the shed way back in the day.
The good old shed.
The
That's
OGs.
the OG. So for
For
everyone listening,
the OGs
the
out
shed
there.
was the first building that I actually had. It was like, I don't know, what was it, Ryan? Like 10 by 15. It couldn't have been bigger than that, right?
Oh, it was a small. It was on the range at Hillendale in Durham. It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful, beautiful municipal
But
course.
I mean, nothing like he's doing now. I tell you that much. But I remember being in there and then kind of working throughout high school with him, and I think that kind of really set the foundation for me. Just having that base level of strength, kind of a little bit more coordination in the movements. Um, a lot of kids that play a lot of other sports growing up kind of get the coordination. Like if you're playing 2, 3 sports in middle school, high school, it does a lot for your development. But I really quit everything kind of middle school to focus primarily on golf. So I feel like I lost a little bit of that. I wouldn't say coordination, but just kind of the development of playing multiple sports, the different kind of physicalities that you get from them, the different movements. So Chris really helped me kind of fine tune some of those motor skills. I remember sitting in there trying to throw a ball left-handed and looking like a complete fool. So I
We
think
won't share
kind
any
of
of that
just
video, Ryan.
getting a
Don't worry.
baseline, kind of getting a baseline where I felt like physically I was comfortable. And from a relatively younger age, kind of helped me be have that good foundation. And then kind of going into college, uh, started doing a little bit more heavy lifting. I'd say kind of doing whatever the team's been doing. So it's tailored to you, but it's tailored to more of a group. So it's a bit of an interesting setting, and you're doing it at weird hours, and you're going to class, and then you're trying to practice, and it just becomes a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a grind, but it becomes more of a, hey, you got to do this at this time, and that's just kind of the rule, and that's fine. And I didn't mind it. I just would say it was harder for me in college than it was in high school, just because of everything else that you have going on. And then now that my job is full time to focus on golf, um, the physical aspect has been a little bit easier for me because I can kind of plan my schedule around when I like to do stuff, kind of plan what I like to do in general, and do whatever I think is going to be the best for me. I do a lot of stretching. I do a lot of like kind of body weight mobility stuff. I don't really do a lot of weights right now. I probably should start at some point, but yeah, I've been playing pretty much straight for the last year and a half without having too many long breaks. So the weights are hard to put on in the middle of a season. So that might be an off season project, but I'd say stretching is the biggest thing that anyone could do out there if you're looking to just kind of try and do better, in terms of feeling better every day, hitting the golf ball maybe just a little bit more consistent. That's been huge for me, is just kind of getting into a routine with a little bit of dynamic stretching, a little bit of static stretching, drinking a lot of water, all that good stuff. It goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something we always, and then the research supports is, you know, we always talk, if you think about, remember the food pyramid, the base of the food pyramid for golf really is being able to have mobility in the, you know, the rotary centers, right? The neck, the shoulders, and the hips. Ryan, I'd love to hear more about college and what that's like. That we get a lot of questions from a lot of our juniors, and you know, we see it on social a bunch too. Kind of like kids and parents really have no idea like how to prepare and what college is like. I think there's a vision of what college golf is going to be like, and then there's obviously the reality of what you lived and how different it can be. And what were some of the, you know, if you were talking to juniors and their parents who are looking to play college golf, what would be some of the kind of, I don't know, the things that they probably don't know that you think would be helpful for them to know in terms of how to, you know, be successful and how to prepare for a great college career?
Yeah. So I went to UNC, and it was a little bit more academically rigorous school, I'd say, than most. So I think that definitely factors into the level of stress or competition or whatever you want to call it. But college golf as a whole is a really fun experience, but it is a grind sometimes. I mean, I remember some Fridays you're doing 6 a.m. workout and then kind of going to class for a little bit, getting out at 1, going to the golf course, beating balls for a couple hours, then just trying to go squeeze out as much possible time to play. And then all of a sudden it's 8 p.m. some nights and you're like, gosh, man, it's Friday night. Like, what am I going to do? I've been up since 5:30 and I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'd say the college golf work experience is more about being comfortable and more about embracing it and having fun with your teammates and kind of being on top of all that stuff. That we can get into the individual workout stuff and kind of what it looks like to be a part of that. But I'd say the biggest thing is if you can find a group of guys and a coaching staff and stuff like that that you like and you think you're going to fit in with, that's probably the most important part, because whatever you might go through with those guys, at least you're going through it with them, and that's making your life that much easier just because you have, I guess, friends, resources, whatever you want to call it, along the way to kind of help go through it together. From a physical side, from a workout side, it's just a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, I was living in a dorm that was like basically the size of this shed, like 10 by 20, and then with a roommate, and it's just different than what you're used to. So a lot of change, a lot of interesting hours. You're trying to focus on school. You got to play good golf. You got to figure out what you're going to eat. You got to maybe cook for yourself, like do laundry. Like that stuff's like crazy, man. But I'd say in terms of like the team physical aspect, usually I'd say it's usually like 3 workouts a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'd say is pretty standard. Occasionally you'll throw in like a Thursday workout in the off season, or like a Thursday like yoga session in the off season, when you're not playing all the golf tournaments in the world. So I'd say that's kind of what to expect in terms of like schedule for a week and workouts. For the most part, they're pretty standard with like hey, you do a pretty heavy dynamic warm up. You do some sort of like dumbbell complex, or you break out into small groups and you have a couple different groups of guys depending upon like what stage they are physically, doing a few different things, anything from squats to box jumps to sled pushes to band work. I mean, you name it, like it kind of runs the gamut. But I'd say for the most part, you kind of work up in the system. Most trainers do a really good job of putting you in a position where you're going to succeed. And if you're a freshman or a sophomore, like someone younger, they're not going to really force you into the crazy stuff right away. You're gonna kind of get to work into it. So I think a lot of it is kind of that. I mean, finish occasionally with some cardio or some stadiums. For us, we worked out in the bottom of the football stadium, so we just run around the whole field up and down the stairs sometimes, just trying to kind of keep everything physically good. But for the most part, man, like that stuff, it feels like a grind when you're in there, and you're always kind of in that next set mentality, like oh, I just got to worry about this set. We'll worry about the next set when we get to it. But no, it's very. They make it very easy for you to follow for the most part. They make it very easy for you to kind of do. I mean, obviously, there's some sort of like team discipline involved. Like, hey, if it's a 6 a.m. workout, you're there at 5:50. Like, and that's early for a lot of people,
especially in college.
But especially in college. But that's one of those things where I feel like as you go, you kind of get a better grip on it, better understanding of it, and it is different than anything you're ever gonna do, but you kind of enjoy the ride, and the people, like kind of going back to what I said initially, like the people that you're doing it with make such a big difference. Because if you're waking up in the morning and you get to go basically hang out with your guys for an hour and a half before class, like it's a lot easier to look forward to it than, oh man, dude, it's 5:30, I got to get up and I hate these freaking guys and my coach is such a hard ass and like I know they're gonna run us, whatever. So
that's, I can speak to that. Actually, my oldest Lucas, who wasn't even born when we started working together, he's 10 now. But he's gotten in. He's asking to go to the gym now in the morning with me. So he literally the last 3 mornings, like 5:30, he's like, "Dad, we're going to the gym, right?" Normally I'd be like, "I'm kind of tired. I don't think I'm going to go today." My 10-year-old is literally forcing me to get up and go to the gym. And there's a gym attendant there, and he says, "Oh, you got your workout partner, huh?" And I had to literally look at the guy. Yeah, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my 10-year-old today. So but having that camaraderie, whether it's your 10-year-old or your college teammates, for 100%, there's an accountability factor to it, and obviously it makes it more enjoyable too. I think kind of to not take all of your time today, but I would love, and I know we've gotten some questions in the past, like people are curious, what is that tour trailer like, right? People like behind the scenes, like you go in there, like what happens in there? Like, I know obviously there's physios and those sorts of things in there. What kind of equipment do you see? Like hundreds of different types of workouts? Do guys tend to do the same things? So I think, that'd be kind of like what's it like? But then number 2, I think, I'd be real curious for you to share kind of how you've utilized it and, or not this year on tour to kind of, continue to, you've obviously had an amazing run here and how you've been able to kind of keep that going.
So there's 2 tour trailers for those who are interested. It's actually really cool. There's a physio trailer, which has more of like the kind of the massage tables with usually there's like 2 or 3 PTs in there, a chiropractor, like Normatec legs, basically just like recovery stuff, some other hyper-ice equipment, couple cable systems on the wall, couple benches, couple dumbbells, some bands, like pretty standard, I'd say anything that you're going to find at your local hotel gym, you're going to find in that physio trailer. And that's mostly for like, hey, my back's feeling a little tight, just got off this flight, like come in there, do some PT work, do some soft tissue stuff. Chris's favorite thing ever, scraping out the old hip flexors.
There's no better time, Ryan. I don't know what you're talking
everything, about. There's like a few things in there that like happen all the time, all day, every day. Chiropractor, some guys really like getting adjusted, some guys don't. I kind of fall into the camp where I'll do it if I need to, but besides that, like it feels a little weird sometimes. So it just kind of depends what you feel like you need. But I'd say for the most part, guys spend a lot more time in the physio trailer than you'd think, just because the resources of the guys in there are incredible. I mean, you can just walk in there any time of day, no appointment, just kind of whatever you're dealing with or whatever. Like it could be as simple as like, hey, I just feel tight, or hey, can you help me kind of stretch out like my hamstrings or my quads a little bit? And like having the resource to go in there and be able to do that is awesome. The other trailer is a fitness trailer. I haven't stepped foot in there quite as often as the other trailer, the physio trailer. But that's more just because I haven't been just pumping iron recently. I don't think I have 225 close grip in my near future. So I just say that the fitness
you couldn't
trailer,
tell that by looking at you, Ryan.
Trailer. So
I was thinking at least 315 just looking at you.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Incline, obviously.
Exactly.
And then it's a bigger trailer, has more free weights, more open space, stuff like that, where there's more accessibility, more movement, like more kind of openness. I mean, you got the cable machines on the wall, you got all the good stuff, free weights, squat rack, you name it. But it does give you kind of that more openness to, hey, if I can kind of set up my own spot here, I can move around a little bit, I can kind of do what I need to do. And it basically mimics anything that you could possibly want or need for your fitness. There's usually one or two guys in there that are pretty good at helping guys out. You see guys doing a lot of like rotational stability work, a lot of core work, a lot of lower body. I don't see that much. I mean, I don't see that much like upper body, like strength work. I mean, you do see guys doing the occasional like bench press. I'd say dumbbell bench is pretty big, like one-handed, kind of doing like the asymmetrical thing where you're trying to kind of get both sides of the body linked up and working together. But for the most part, it's a lot of like core work, kind of getting that stable base, legs, and then rotational stability is huge for a lot of guys.
Sure. Well, Ryan, it's been awesome having you on, getting to chat with you. Obviously, last time I saw you I got to walk around with your mom and dad and watching you at the U.S. Open, which was pretty surreal for me. So I can only imagine what it was like for you. But for everyone listening who wants to kind of follow you, as the season goes and career goes, what's the best place for them to link up with you?
Just follow me on the PGA Tour app or on Instagram. It's not that I don't really do too much crazy stuff on social media. I'm not chucking medicine balls, but no, we'd love to have you kind of tag along and come say what's up if you ever make it out to a golf tournament.
For sure. Awesome, Ryan. Well, thanks so much for your time, brother. It's great to see you having the success and the dream that you said you wanted to have back in the shed. And it's really, having done this for over a decade, there's not a lot of guys that actually say that, at that early age and actually get to live it. So excited for you, man. And from the P4S golf community, like you're one of the top guys we follow. We love watching you. And for any junior out there who has a dream, this guy is living proof it happens. So thanks for taking the time today, Ryan, and I appreciate having you on the podcast.
Thanks so much, Chris. Appreciate it.